In Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, there are 38 different factions in the game as of today, from the 501st and the Bad Batch all the way down to the Unaligned Force users and Wookiees, and today we're going to rank those factions. Well, greetings and hello there, everybody. It's me, your beloved and most loved Star Wars Dad, Nooch Too Good. And yes, that's right. All of the factions are here in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and we're going to rank them from bottom, number 38, all the way up to number 1 with one honorable mention at the end. There's a lot to do here, a lot to look at. We got to squeeze it into a reasonable amount of time. So let's get this ball rolling. But before we do, I just want to point out, once again, we like to point this out every now and then, of all the videos you guys are watching, I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning into the channel. Thank you for the support. 54% of you, almost 55% of you watching this video may not be subscribed to the channel. Please check that button. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the alert button, the bell, to make sure you're getting notifications when we are publishing videos or going live on Nooch Too Good Studios. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. Let's rank these factions from the bottom to the top. Coming in at number 38, Fleet Commanders. Now, you may not have even known that Fleet Commanders was a faction in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, but that's right, boys and girls, it definitely is. And what a faction it is. I mean, you got Darth Revan in there, who's good. You got Admiral Raddus, who's good. You know, they have good teams. General Kenobi, Piet, these are all functional characters, but together they make a whole bunch of nothing. So, now, granted, fleets are important, fleets matter, but when we're looking at ranking the factions for the characters, and I guess I should have said they were characters, not ships. Regardless, Fleet Commanders, just a hodgepodge of guys leading fleets and not much. And gals. Sorry, gals. Are we saying gals? Anyway, number 37, the Jawas. The Jawas are coming in here. And by the way, I'm looking these up every time we get to the beginning. So if you give me a moment to look down, look up, etc. So the Jawas are coming in next at number 37. You know, they could be a lot of fun in the right situation. All the thermal detonators, when you get them, especially like if you can find a way to use them in Conquest versus a detonator task, they are a lot of fun to use. However, they generally don't last very long, and they're not going to be very effective when you're playing them in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. By the way, I should mention a couple things here. We'll talk about overlap as well. 2 of these characters are required. No, actually, 1. Jawa is the only character required in another farm, and that is for Jabba. I'm not going to cover every single one of those as we go, but I think it's important to talk about the overlap and farming requirements because that's included in the value. And I guess some of you are going to want to know what we're ranking these on. I'm kind of going by feel, I'll be honest. There's so much overlap, so many different characters in there. We're going to look at how many characters are in the faction, how many useful characters in the faction, how many characters in the faction are needed for farming and then serve good on other teams, how many galactic legends are present. That's kind of what we're looking at there, but man, there's definitely a feel factor to this as well. Coming up next, the Wookiees. Now, when Tarful first came out, I remember this, when Tarful's first came out, there was a lot of excitement around Wookiees, and perhaps there was even a Datacron, I don't remember, but the Wookiees now, they just never really go together. There is a rote special mission for Wookiees, but most people aren't going to be engaging in Wookiees. And they split up. Chewbacca and Chewpio go on the CLS team. Chrysanthemum goes with Jabba. Veteran Smuggler Chewie doesn't get used. Zalbar has a Kron to use with Darth Revan now. That leaves Tarful, Clone Wars Chewbacca, Vandor Chewie, and interesting. No, they're all in there. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, the Wookiees just aren't really doing much for anybody in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes these days, unfortunately. Number 35 is going to be our Ewoks. Now, a lot of you guys, including my pal, the Gerbil, may really love the Ewoks. In fact, I shouldn't say a lot of you guys. I should say the Gerbil really loves the Ewoks. He likes to put his best mods on them. He's got them all at Relic 9, all the Zetas. And he does make some things happen with them, especially with the recent Ewok Datacron. Outside of that, for most of us, the primary and only thing that the Ewoks do to service is get 3PO unlocked, and then you need Wicket and Chirpa and Nisa for Leia Organa, and that's about it for the Ewoks. There's really not anything exciting going on there in that Ewok faction. Number 34, Tuskens. It's a similar story here to the Ewoks and the Jawas, except the biggest difference with the Tuskens, and I think this should be pointed out, and I'm going to point it out that because if I think something should be pointed out, I'm going to point it out because it's my video. Anyway, the Tuskens have a very effective 3v3 team in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. If you get the Tusken Chieftain out there, Tusken Raiders got an Omicron for 3v3 Grand Arena. That is an effective Omicron, and especially if you apply it out there in early or lower levels of Grand Arena, it could be super problematic for your opponents. So the Tuskens, and 2 of them are required for Jabba and Lord Vader. So you know you got that because Lord Vader likes to kill Tuskens, and Jabba is of course on Tatooine. But you know, Tuskens still, even with all that, just not a lot going on in that faction these days. Geonosians coming in at 33. Some of you might be surprised to see them this low. They certainly have a lot of usefulness in the game. We talked about the utility of the Geos, dark side Geo territory battles for new accounts, but for the most part, Geos really apply to accounts that are new through the mid game, and then they fade a little bit. Even the Malevolence fleet, we talk about farming it on this channel all the time. Its usefulness has kind of faded over time. Now, when as you advance higher in the game, you use Malevolence less and less and less. I believe it'll get a lifter next year, so we'll see how that works out. But that ships. These are characters. These guys are useful, and you'll still see them even on late game guilds using them in territory wars because of Poggle's Omicron. The second part that should be said, there's only 5 of them. It's one team. It's a limited team. They are, I don't believe any of them are required for any other farms. Nope. So they're not required in any other farms. They are required for dark side Geo territory battles to get those Wat Tambor shards, which is valuable. It's just a limited faction, so we bring him in at number 33. At number 32, the Separatists. We're kind of in a similar situation. Well, actually, let me take it back. We're not in a similar situation here. This faction goes a little bit deeper, and this is the first time we're going to see a little bit of overlap occur here in this faction. You've got the Geos that we just mentioned are in the Separatist faction, and I've tried here to take whenever that happens on this ranking. We don't want to put the Geos above the Separatists because the Separatists include the Geos, so we're taking that into account as you look at these. And I need a little drink. It's just tea, everybody. You're going to be okay. Look, the Separatists, Wat Tambor and Grievous are needed for Jedi Master Kenobi. Nuke Gunray you need for Lord Vader, and also Count Boba. It might be Count Boba. Boba's not even on here. Count Dooku's needed for Lord Vader. Jango Fett is needed for Jedi. There are some requirements here. You need the droids to go get gas. So this is a faction that you're going to farm mostly so that you can unlock other characters. If you put the Grievous team out there in Grand Arena, the Wamp is just going to smoke it unless there's some kind of great Datacron out there or you guys are unaware of something. Trench has some territory wars usefulness. We talked about the Geos already. Asajj Ventress doesn't even go with any. This is just kind of a limited, even though there's more characters here, it's a limited faction as far as utility in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Number 31, Old Republic. Oh my goodness, this is the first time we get into a character that really actually, when I look at this faction, I am willing to say that I don't think Jedi Knight Revan is going to belong this low as one character in the faction rankings. He feels like he should be much higher. He has his own team early on, then he eventually goes on to a Jedi Master Luke team. He is well, for whatever use that is to you. Anyway, Jedi Knight Revan is a good character in this game, and you need him to unlock Darth Malak. With that said, outside of Jedi Knight Revan, and then you'll use Bastila Shan and Jolie Bindo with him. You might use Canderous Ordo in like a Mandalorian team. You got Zalbar if you have the Kron and a Darth Revan team, but I don't even see that much of that in Kyber these days. There's just not a lot going on with this faction. You put Juhani with an Omicron into a Starkiller team for territory wars, but this faction, it's just kind of limited with its uses. You'll probably, if you unlock them early, you'll use them in early and mid game a lot. And as you get later and later and later, you use this faction less and less and less. And if you put them out there in Grand, they're just not really used for a lot in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. So they're going to come in at number 31. Going to number 30, the Jedi Vanguard. Now, here's the sad part. This is one of our 2 new factions this year, and we're going to get a third one with the Acolytes here pretty soon. But Jedi Vanguard just aren't impressing anybody at this point of the game. I mean, maybe Jedi Master Mace Windu, Temple Guard, and Depa Balaba are doing some things in Territory Wars. I'm unaware. There are a lot of Omicrons on this team for Territory Wars with Jedi Master Mace Windu's, kit. However, they're not really doing a lot for a lot of people, and they're good in the raid. I should say that they're good for the raid, but raids are temporary. I try not to rank faction. I try not to do a lot of this stuff based on raids in the game because I just, you know, maybe I'll make a raid ranking video. I don't know, but it just seems like we do a lot of things. Raids come and go. Raids come and go. That's what I'm trying to say. But outside of that, they kind of threw all of the useless Jedi. I mean, talking Jedi Knight Guardian, I'm a Gundai, Jedi Consular, Aayla Secura is not useless, but you know, she's close. Kit Fisto, Eth Koth, Luminar Unduli, Qui-Gon Jinn outside of Grand Arena isn't really much to look at. Plo Koon's got a ship, and that's what. There's just a lot of just fluff here, a lot of fluff, and Jedi Master Mace Windu is definitely underperforming in Grand Arena for just about everybody these days. So, number 30 Jedi Vanguard, kind of a big disappointment this year for a lot of people. The Gungans at number 29. Now, some of you are freaking out, but I love the Gungans. And they counter this and they counter that. They're actually a highly productive team in both Grand Arena territory. They do a good job in those different game modes. They're a really highly functional team, but they're the most isolated team in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. These characters are required in no other farms. These characters really cannot be used on any other teams except with Gungans. There's really nothing to do with them except use Gungans altogether with Jar Jar or not use Gungans at all. And because of the limitations of that, even though they are a solid performing team in the game modes where they work, I just put them here at number 29 because they're just really limited and there's not a lot of stuff branching out from those Gungans. Number 28, the Phoenix. I know, here it got harder. You're gonna notice here, the rankings keep ramping up a little bit harder, a little bit harder, a little bit harder each step along the way that we take. Now, another note here. The reason that I put the Phoenix down here at number 28 is because, once again, it's a limited faction. When you look at the Phoenix, you're looking at 7 characters, right? Now, we do need Captain Rex and Harrison Dula for Leia Organa, and Harrison Dula you just needed for the Profundity. Outside of that, I don't think anybody else required for it. I don't think anybody else is required for anybody except for the ships. I mean, the ships are okay. Yeah, even with the new Home 1 fleet, you don't end up using these ships a lot once you get to like the mid to late game. Captain Rex is the character in here that makes the biggest difference. In 3v3 Grand Arena, he goes over to a clone team, and then the Phoenix just lie on your roster, completely useless for an entire round of 3v3 Grand Arena. I mean, early on, you might not have the clone team, but you're going to eventually get it. These guys, it's just limited. There's not a lot going on. There's one team you should use. It's a good team, and it's much like the Gungans. It's good and highly effective. It's just a limited faction, boys and girls. Coming up next, Imperial Troopers. Now, this is an interesting one, and what's getting even more interesting is that these are a lot of these early factions I'm talking about are the factions that I tell you guys to farm early in the game as some of your first teams, and that holds true. It's really important to note that a lot of these factions here you're going to be farming them early on in the game on your roster for a good reason. You know, get those assault battles done, and they perform in low rounds of Grand Arena. They can get some conquest work done. But overall, the Imperial Troopers, it's not that they're limited. There are 2 full teams here with a Veers lead team and a Iden Versio team. The fact is that as you move forward in the game and as you get your assault battles done with that Veers lead team, 2 assault battles, I love it. I love them so much. Their utility does falter as they go. Now, when you get a good Iden Versio Datacron, you can put her out there in Grand Arena, but without that, Wampa slaughters Iden Versio in Grand Arena, and you're not going to put your Imperial Troopers on defense, and as you get to the late game, both of them fade in their utility in the game, and there's not a lot of other places to use these characters. You can plug Piet into some Empire teams occasionally. Moff Gideon can go, Moff Gideon, Scout Trooper, Imperial Remnant will be in here too, and I think Imperial Remnant is actually the next faction. So 26 Imperial Remnant. So, a couple of those Imperial Troopers will go over to Imperial Remnant. The thing about Imperial Remnant is that it's a pretty limited faction as well. You've got your Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team, which is functional in Grand Arena, if not amazing. It was a lot of fun when it first came out, maybe a year and a half ago, and it's kind of faded over time, and not those characters outside of Scout Trooper aren't really required for much. It did give you some fun place to put Moff Gideon. The one big thing here is the Poncho Bros are in the Poncho Bros are in here. So you do have Captain Enoch, Night Trooper, and Death Trooper Peridia, and that is an assault battle. So that puts the Imperial Remnant ahead of Imperial Troopers in my book. And those guys are also used on a Great Mother's team, two of those Night Troopers, so Night Trooper and Death Trooper. So that's what brings in Imperial Remnant at number 26, whereas Imperial Troopers is at number 27. Coming in at 25, Rogue One. So Rogue One, again, you know, we're looking at all these faction guys. Again, a limited faction that shows up in a lot of other places in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. And we know that Rogue One is required for profundity, which is significant, but it's only a few of them. I mean, I've got profundity, and I've only got 5 of these guys relict. And was Chirrut required for that, or did I get them in a bundle or so? I can't remember. And now they do also have the Admiral Raddus team that's really good in Grand Arena. It does some functional things for you in Grand Arena. Not really an end beater these days, but does show up in end game Grand Arenas quite a lot for Admiral Raddus. That said, it's just a few characters. There's only one team to put together here outside of the profundity, so it does come in a little higher, mainly because of the profundity farm, but you know, yeah, you get the idea. Bounty Hunters. This is an interesting one to me because the Bounty Hunters, I think you all know, there are a lot of characters here that fall under the Bounty Hunter umbrella. However, there's not a lot of end game effectiveness, and you have to think that Forlom and Zuckuss now are gonna change that a little bit and bring about some, you know, and bring about changes with those bounty hunters with their kits. And we're hoping that, because right now, you know, there's a Galactic Legend. I should mention that. There's a Galactic Legend, the Bounty Hunters. This is our first faction with a Galactic Legend, and I maybe should have ranked it a little bit higher because that Galactic Legend, I might have reversed this. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Well, you know, there's not all right. Well, I forgot Jabba's a bounty hunter. That's my fault. So you do have Smugglers Run 3 with this, which is really important, and I might need to pop these. This will be the first one. You guys can yell at me. I think I messed it up. I am not redoing this graphic. This graphic took me hours to put together. It's taking up a ton of space on my computer, and you can see it's a little blurry because I had to make it really small and then expand it. Regardless, the bounty hunters are good. You got a Jabba team in there. You don't have a complete Jabba team, by the way. You don't have Lando, Skiffguard Lando in here. Yeah, you don't have Skiffguard Lando, that's it. You do have a complete 3v3 Jabba team. Outside of that, though, you know, you find uses for Mando, you find uses for Boss. Obviously, the fleet with the Executor is really good. Fennec Shand used to be a lot more useful than she is now. Even her Lord Vader effectiveness had dwindled over time. So out of all these characters, really the only team that comes into play on a consistent basis is Jabba. Now, Jabba's really important, and maybe I should have put this team higher, but that's me coming at 24 with Bounty Hunters. Let me have some comments on that. Droids at number 23. Now, Droids is a big mishmash. This is our first, what I would call, just a giant mishmash faction in Galaxy Heroes. When we take a look at this thing, there is almost no like set droid team that you put together, and I don't mind that, by the way. Hold on. There's a lot of talking involved in this video, so I gotta refresh the vocal cords every now and then. So, you know, you got droids that are separatists, you got droids that are rebels, you got droids that are Rogue One, you got droids that are pirates, you have droids that are Spectre, you've got droids that are Imperial Troopers, you've got droids that are Old Republic, Phoenix, etc. The list keeps going. Bounty Hunters now. And there's no real specific like droid team. I guess you consider General Grievous a droid team, and if you put, I should have mentioned this earlier, got the Omicron and Droidica. That's a good Grand Arena team, or excuse me, good Territory Wars team all the way through the mid to late game. But there's not really a droid team. Early on in the game, HK-47 had a droid team, and outside that, it hasn't really existed. Not a lot going on here. You can get a sortie team together, and it does okay if you do it right, but most of these characters in the droid faction are going to plug and play into other teams. So while there's a lot of value and a lot of really good characters in here, they come in at number 23 just due to the mishmashiness of that droid faction. 501st, number 22. Now, some of you might freak out at this as well. It's really hard to get these things in order, and this was hard to do. I'm going to tell you that it was hard to put a subjective value on all these different factions when they're all so different. And the 501st is a perfect example. This team is highly effective all the way through the end game. You take it out there on offense, it's taking stuff out. This team is required. I mean, specifically General Skywalker for 3 Galactic Legends, right? But this team is very limited and is only one team, and ends up being split into parts. You know, General Skywalker ends up going other places. The clones go to other places for 3v3. I mean, I guess that's not really split into parts. It's just very limited. It's not a lot going on in the faction, even though you need gas for all those end game farms, but there's just not a lot of characters up here. And so I bring the 501st in here at number 22. Number 21, Rebel Fighter. Now I might get a little beef. You might say that you think the 501st is better than Rebel Fighter, and I can understand that as far as performance, but a lot of you guys are also in love with Luthen Rael and Saw Gerrera and their performances in Grand Arena, and I get that too. Again, there's a mishmash element to Rebel Fighters. You got Captain Rex, who's a Phoenix and a clone. Captain Drogon, who goes with Leia Organa. There's a definite mishmash factor. And then characters that just don't get used at all in the game. You know, Lando Calrissian. I mean, you'll find Scarab Pathfinder out there. Hoth Rebel Scout and Soul. I mean, they have their plug-and-play places. Bodhi Rook, I guess, but they're just not really, you know, this isn't a super duper come together, watch out for Rebel Fighters faction, except for that one team, either Mon Mothma with Luthen Rael or Saw Gerrera with Luthen Rael. So while it's a lot of characters involved here, those characters end up being useful and used in other factions. I forgot I didn't have it up on the screen, so I apologize for that. So yeah. So that's what's up with Rebel Fighters. You get the idea. You got a long look at Luthen Rael there. I did it out of order. Number 20, the Night Sisters. The Night Sisters. The Night Sisters are now, you know, they're part of that. Night Trooper and Death Trooper Pretty are part of the Ahsoka farm. Great Mothers and Morgan Elsbeth are part of your Baylan Skull farm. And that Great Mothers team is really still doing really nice stuff in Grand Arena to this point of the game. Even the Talzin Night Sisters can come in there and take out Jabba every now and then, or be a cleanup team, or they perform well against like teams like Finn and Zori. So everybody in the Night Sisters has a place and has an effective utilization in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, including using them for the Secrets and Shadows assault battles. So I bring in Night Sisters here. I like this faction a lot, especially when you look at the fact that, you know, it can possibly be divided between 3 different teams here. If you get, you know, your Great Mothers without those Night Troopers, you could do your Mother Talzin team, then the Night Trooper and Death Trooper go over onto the, there's a lot of options here and a lot of action, and these guys are still really good. So number 20, Night Sisters. Number 19, the Bad Batch. Now the Bad Batch got an additional set of characters this year, so now we have 2 versions of everybody's favorite scoundrel type clones, the Bad Batch. With that said, you know, the old Bad Batch is required for Lord Vader. You need them for the Marauder. That's actually really important. The old Bad Batch being there for Marauder is really highly important for those early Galactic Republic fleets to climb in Fleet Arena and perform in Grand Arena. Really, really important. With all that said, these 2 teams have their plug-and-play uses, but they can only really be used with each other, with Echo every now and then making an appearance on like a Leia Organa squad. Or not Leia Organa, Queen Amidala. Echo shows up on a Queen Amidala squad every now and then, but there's not a lot of plug and play here, and I'm not finding myself really paying any penalty in the game for not having the new Bad Batch on my roster, so I bring them in at number 19. Number 18, Clone Troopers. This is going to be our previous principal, which I missed with the Bounty Hunters. Sorry. It's my fault. It's my fault. The Clone Troopers. Well, this includes all the clones in the 501st. This includes all of your old Bad Batch. The new Bad Batch, don't get me started. I guess it would have just broken the game. The game would be over. And it includes your new Dark Side Clone Troopers. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. And Dark Side Clone Troopers in the raid, and they're really good under Lord Vader, and they're effective under Tarkin. You got your Bad Batch, you got Kix in there. There's a new Pirate, the 501st. You got Rex in there. A lot of diversity, which is funny to say. I didn't even think about that, but I think it's really funny to say that there's a lot of diversity of use of these characters that are Clone Troopers, because as we know, they're all one person, Timo Morrison. So anyway, I might say his name wrong anyway, but yeah, Clone Troopers coming in at number 18. At number 17, the Mandalorians. I really like this faction. I've come to love it here in recent days and weeks and months, and they're really needed for that end game and even the late game. You got a Mandalorian team. You got a Bo-Katan Mandalore team. You got some other mishmash. There was Sabine coming in there as well. Mandalore, you know, the Mandalorian, etc. That Bo-Katan team in Grand Arena is a monster to be dealt with. She is really, really good, especially on offense, especially against Lord Vader, especially with the Rolo Kron. But even with other Krons, she's really, really good. And the Mandalorian team, we all know, is the team I'm farming next on my roster, assuming nothing, you know, we're waiting to see. I'm kind of sitting on everything right now, waiting for Relic Delta, but, and if you're watching this in the future, hey, Relic Delta, we don't know what's going on. Anyway, Mandalorians, or the Mandalorians come in really strong here with some high-performing teams in Grand Arena and throughout the game, and and even rote teams as well with Bo-Katan Mandalore. Inquisitors. Now, this is definitely a throwback to Rise of the Empire territory battles. When that territory battle first came out, and even through today, if you are in a early to mid-game guild that's doing Rise of the Empire territory battle, you need to get the Inquisitors so that your guild can get Reva on the roster, because that Reva-led Inquisitor team, they get good Datacrons all the time. I mean, good Datacrons all the time, and they're highly, highly effective. Not to mention they're used in, well, Reva's used in other missions in Rote as well. This is a really good team. Merrick's in there on a Balin Skoll team, which is a great team in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Not a lot of characters here, and not a lot of divergence. Oh, and Second Sister has a ship that really makes that Empire fleet really hum. So a lot of positives here to say about the Inquisitors. I'm sure we're gonna see more Inquisitors as time goes on in this game. But yeah, Inquisitors coming in at number 16. Number 15, Mercenaries. This faction is very limited as far as characters go. I take it back. I'm wrong. Hang on. This faction is not limited as... I'm talking too much. Mercenaries. There's the new Bad Batch. There's Balin Skoll, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, Kersantin. There's a bit of mishmash going on here with Dash Rendar, Honda Onaka, who's also a pirate. Han gets in there, Han Solo. You got a lot of bounty hunters in here. A lot of diversity. This is the first one we see that's got multiple teams in there with the new Bad Batch, with Balin Skoll, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis is a great Jedi Master Luke lifter. There's a lot going on with this faction right now in the game, and I think this is the most characters we've seen in a faction so far, so that matters as well. The Mercenaries coming in at number 15. At number 14, we're looking at Spectre. Now, the thing about Spectre, it's our second one. I should have put Bounty Hunters higher. Just tell me. Everybody's putting comments, you should have put Bounty Hunters higher. Just say that. I'll take it on the chin. When we're looking at Spectre, now Spectre is our second faction with a Galactic Legend, I think. But the thing about Spectre is it's very limited. There's only 7 characters. And once you set your Ahsoka team out there, you could set a General Syndulla team out as like a secondary 3v3 team out there. Now this team is really high performing on defense and Grand Arena and Territory Wars. We get that. But, you know, I mean, there's just not a lot going on with this faction. There's not a lot of characters. There's not a lot of extra stuff. They don't really plug and play anywhere. They're not required for anything else. One other big benefit, I'll say this, Ezra Bridger Exile. The guy's a monster. He is the best lifter in this game, bar none, hands down. Get it done. Ezra Exile, the best lifter in the game. So he gives him a bump up. They might have even gone lower, except for Ezra Exile. He really elevates them to number 14. Number 13 is Resistance. Now there's a little more action going on here, and 2 full teams that you can use. That Radis fleet is kind of a, you know, an afterthought, whatever. But you can put a Rey team out there, Galactic Legend Rey. You put a Finn team out there with Zori Bliss. This is a very good faction, but another Galactic Legend. And there's more going on here, but a couple of things. You know, we don't use a lot of resistance on Rey's team, which is really interesting to say, but it's true. You know, we maybe use 1, maybe 2 resistance characters on Rey's team when it's 5v5, and 3v3, you might not even, she might be out there with Ben Solo and Cal Kestis, or Ben Solo and Ezra Bridger Exile. You might not use any other resistance on her 3v3 team. So There are 2 full teams on here that get used in Galaxy Heroes. It's a very isolated farm. We talk about this all the time. You do have to farm the Houndstooth and Bosk to get the Radis and get it done, but just not a lot of overlap between this farm and any other one. So Resistance coming at number 13. Pirates at number 12. Now, this is one of our other 2 factions we've received so far this year in 2025. And, you know, Hondo's performing great. Hondo's doing really good stuff. Maz Kanata's taking out Lord Vader. There are 2 really, really good teams on here. Absolute really good teams on here. It's a new faction. They're doing great. There's a Galactic Legend. There's 2 full teams. They're not super available to the world yet, right? Like, we don't have a lot of ships that go with them. Do we have any ships? No ships that go along with these guys. I would imagine we'll start seeing pirate ships at some point, but that's a whole separate conversation. There's no overlap with other farms. You do need gas to get Hondo, but that's not exactly what we're talking about. But they're performing at a really high level, and since they're a new team, their performance is pretty strong in the game, so they come in at number 12. Number 11, Hut Cartel. Now, this is where I got myself in trouble by not realizing that Jabba is also a bounty hunter, or not realizing it, but just not thinking. I think it's about, I realized it, I just didn't think about it clearly when I was putting together my graphic that took up all the memory and blah, 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 blah. I actually had to, I crashed in the middle of recording this. If you'd noticed, I had to fade between 2 scenes. If you can figure out what that is, put that in comments. The Hut Cartel. 1 team, it's the Jabba team. You need it for Smuggler's Run 3. Bounty hunters should have come after this, because bounty hunters include, bounty hunters should have been way up higher. It's completely on me. Or this should have been a little bit lower. One or the other. Bounty hunters includes Moses, except for Skiffguard Lando. He's not included, and he is a member of that. You know, the main 4 are Jabba, Boushh Leia, Chrysanthemum, Skiffguard Lando. Then people do Boba Fett, who's the best one, Embo, who's second best, and other ones kind of just maybe, some people like Gamorrean Guard in there. But the Hut Cartel, it's a really important faction to get that Smuggler's Run 2 done. I should have mentioned Smuggler's Run 3 was with the Pirates, and maybe, I think, I gotta be honest. I'll be honest with you guys. I would flip these today. Maybe. I put together the graphic a couple of days before Smuggler's Run 3 came out. But Smuggler's Run 3 at its highest level requires Relic 9 Hondo. So I think these, I'm gonna still stick with this. I'm saying I misplaced the bounty hunters, and that's completely on me. Number 10, Sith Empire. Boy, oh boy. Not only do you get a great performing team in your hands for all facets of the game, a team that can do some really nice things for you in multiple different game modes, all the different game modes, when Malgus is in the lead or when Darth Revan's in the lead. I know it's limited characters, but you're also getting Leviathan that is focused around this core of characters. There are other characters required, like Bastila Shan Lightside, and who was the droid Sortie is required. But when you look at this, you know, this is most of your Leviathan farm right here as far as characters go. You got to get a couple of Relic 9, and yeah, the Sith Empire. You get this team put together with Darth Malgus, or you know, in the mid game, they're going to sit on your defense in Grand Arena forever and ever and ever. They do a lot of work in Conquest. This is a great team, even though the characters are limited on it. I really love the Sith Empire in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. The First Order coming in at number 9, another Galactic Legend for everybody, and another semi-isolated farm in the game. Now, a lot of people farm the First Order these days with the Lightspeed bundles. In fact, I'd say the majority of people that are farming First Order these days are doing it with Lightspeed bundles. And Kylo is still, to this day, one of the top performing Galactic Legends in the game, and he's even got a lifter now with Darkseid Rey. He does a lot of good things. He counters almost every other Galactic Legend in the right situation, and when he gets Datacrons like last time around and this time around, some really good things can be done with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. They're coming in here at number 9 because they're just limited, right? Now the farm, as we mentioned a lot here on this channel, overlaps with Executor, which is really important, which is why Finalizer Bundle is so valuable for sure. It does overlap there, but you only get really 1 team out of this, maybe 2 if you split up. It's generally 1 team. I have fielded 2 teams out there with Kylo Ren on Mass in the lead with Darkseid Rey, but that's not really an ideal way to do it. You know, coming at number 9, Kylo's great, limited faction. That's why it's number 9. Number 8, Smuggler. Let's get back into your mishmash, boys and girls. Let's get back into your mishmash here. But the thing about this mishmash is there's 2 Galactic Legends. Jabba Pirate King Hondo. You got Maz Kanata in there, who now is beating Lord Vader. You've got a bunch of characters like Han Solo and Chewbacca and Dash Rendar that fit into a lot of great teams. Hondo Onaka, the OG Hondo Onaka is doing great stuff in the game. I'd love to see Enfys Nest make a comeback, but I don't see that anytime soon. This faction is a lot of mishmash. A lot of characters are smugglers, but these characters, when they go into the teams they go into, do a lot of great stuff. Plus, you need some smugglers for Smugglers Run 1 in the game. These characters also overlap their ships with the cargo heist. So, is it cargo run? Cargo... I can never remember what that's called. You know, the ship event with the cargo stuff where you get all the stuff for the ships. Cargo something. All right, coming in at number 7, Scoundrels. Scoundrels and Smugglers have a lot of overlap between them. Not max overlap, though, because, you know, Jabba apparently is not a scoundrel. I don't know why, probably for game purposes, but look at the depth. Look at the depth. I believe this is the deepest faction. We do have a galactic legend, and he's got all of his pirate buddies in here. All the pirates are scoundrels, and all the scoundrels are not pirates. It's a logical fallacy. You got your Seer Junda in here. You got your Han and Chewie, Hondo Naka, Maz Kanata. A lot of people already mentioned for the smugglers. You got all your bounty hunters, or most of your bounty. This is all your bounty hunters, isn't it? You got some Old Republic in there. I mean, this is just a super deep faction in Galaxy Heroes, and I think it's the most characters in any faction. So they got to come in at number 7 for those scoundrels. Number 6, the Empire. The Galactic Empire is, it's really, I think it's important. These last few factions, the top 6 factions, I think they're all going to fit and be really important when you look at the game overlapping with the lore of what we love in Star Wars. I mean, the guys left Empire, Rebels, Jedi, Sith, right? If you had to pick 4 groups of people that really set this community on fire, that's it. Those are your boys, those are your girls. Galactic Republic, that's where you want to be. So when we look at the Empire, not only is it a deep faction, there is a galactic legend with Lord Vader. You got the dark side clones, you got the Inquisitorius included, you got Mara Jade in there, you got all the Imperial troopers. You have a lot of stuff going on. Garsak's Imperial Super Commando overlap with the Mandalorians. Quite simply, the Empire is a deep faction with lots of value in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, and that's why it comes in at number 6. Coming at number 5, your Galactic Republic. I know a lot of you guys out there are Clone Wars people. You grew up on the prequels. You know, this faction, just like our previous we were looking at, super deep, lots of characters. Only one Galactic Legend, which is surprising, but you got the Poncho Bros in there. You've got so much going on with the Galactic Republic. Yeah, your Queen Amidala team. There is a lot of depth, a couple of great fleets that really can serve you well. You know, Jedi Master Mace Windu is in there. Why did I put this? You got your clones in there. Your 501st, your Bad Batch, a lot of great functionality and usefulness with your Galactic Republic teams from the very beginning of the game all the way to the end of the game. The Galactic Republic comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we're looking at the Rebels. The Rebels are another deep faction in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes that overlaps in all sorts of different places in this game. You got smugglers, you got scoundrels, you got rebel fighters, you got Phoenix in here. This faction goes deep. Nothing goes as deep as those scoundrels, but it goes deep. You got lots of teams to put together, a lot of action happening with the Rebels, including the best performing galactic legend in the game, Leia Organa. She is right now, she's still overall performance in all aspects of this game. It's Leia Organa. CLS is a team that lasts you from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. You get the profundity out of this, you get your Rogue One. There's so much happening with the Rebels and so many great things to say about this faction. Number 3, unaligned force users. This might seem out of place to some folks here that are maybe watching this video, but when you really think about it, there are 3, this is the only faction with 3 galactic legends. 3 galactic legends. Balin Skull is in there with Shin Hati and Merrick. You've got your Inquisitorius. You've even got some pirates in there, and we're gonna add Zuckuss, I believe is. Ooh, I just moved myself. Wrong button. That shouldn't have been unlocked. I don't know why this was so painful to make. You got Ben Solo lifting up your resistance teams of Rey. You got Terran Malicos. You got an entire UFO team. This faction is Maul leading the Mandalorians. CLS is in there. This faction, while they don't all work together, you know, a lot of these characters end up functioning on other teams. There's so many. There's so many characters that are used in every aspect of this game from top to bottom. This might be the most utilized faction as far as every character in this faction being utilized at all points of this game. The UFOs are great, and that's why they come in at number 3. Number 2, the Sith. Boy, oh boy, for those of you guys who really love to be on the dark side of the Force, there are 2 Galactic Legends located in here with Lord Vader and Sith Eternal. Sith Eternal, Galactic Legend Light, we get it. Darth Bane is in here. Darth Bane is a Sith. You've got Darkseid Rey in here lifting up the Kylo team. You got a Traya team that lasts all the way into the game. All your Sith Empire in here. We love the Sith Empire. You've got, who else? I feel like there's more. There's even more in here, right? I guess that's it. Darth Vader can plug and play in a few places in this game. You got the Leviathan tied to the Sith. The Sith come in at number 2. These guys are really good. Not as deep as some other factions, but just doing amazing things in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And your number 1 faction in Star Wars A Galaxy of Heroes, of course, are the Jedi. I just don't think there's a lot of argument to be had here when you look at the Jedi and look at the depth of characters on this roster. Once again, 2 Galactic Legends, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, Galactic Legend Light. The best lifter in the game, Ezra Bridger Exile. Gas is here. Opens up the pathway to 2 Galactic Legends plus kind of Jedi Master Kenobi. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis is in here. You got the Poncho Bros. Jedi Knight Luke. Between General Skywalker, Gas, and Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, these guys open up 2 different farming paths to 6 different Galactic Legends in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, and then you branch off of there to multiple different fleets as well. Just between Gas and Luke, without even including 2 Galactic Legends, you've got the farming paths open up wide in this game. Now, there's a lot of fluff down here with some of the Jedi Vanguard we talked about, but the top of the Jedi are really, really doing great things in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. And there you go. Those are your rankings for the factions in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. We're going to give a little honorable mention to be determined for the Acolyte. I think it'll probably be lower, although the Stranger seems like his kit's going to be really freaking awesome. So we'll see how that Acolyte team works and how it functions. Could fall in there to like a Balin Skull type level. I don't know. We'll see. You don't really get all the extra farming out of that like Night Sisters though. So there you go. That is ranking your factions from number 38 to number 1 to a TBD in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes here. Let me know what you think. Rake me over the coals for the Bounty Hunters because I did mess up that one. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. And always remember, Nooch too good.